Yes, Shweta? Just take the mic. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. The question I have is the significance of demigods in our mythology. Because the example that you gave for Brahma, who was not a demigod, had he not given that boon to Hiranyakashipu, a lot of those things wouldn't have happened. So why do we have these demigods? Why not just one supreme?
Remember I told you a drama? Don't you consider in a drama that, can we consider in a drama why it had to be like this? If it was not like that, then the drama wouldn't have been there. Right? If Duryodhana was not there, Mahabharata wouldn't have been there. Right? No matter how much we despise Duryodhana, but he is needed for the drama. So similarly, Hiranyakashipu had to receive the boons. Brahma had to give him the boon in order for him to become Hiranyakashipu and develop his animosity towards the Lord. His character was needed, because can there be a drama without a villain? Drama means conflict. And bigger the conflict, better the drama. Look at all good dramas. Like you'll find a hero and a villain. So, here we have two villains, Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. Okay? And it was just the arrangement of Maya to get this, how he became so powerful. Also, that's another way of seeing that no matter materially how powerful one becomes, is never a match to the Lord.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, I would like to, we learn about there's two types of people, those who are devotee or who are demon. So what is the position of impersonalists who they deny the the personality of God, but at the same time they can merge into the Brahma effulgence and apparently not suffering?
Yeah, okay. There are two types of impersonalists. One is called Brahmavadi and the other is called Mayavadi. Brahmavadis are impersonal, but they're open to understanding the personal form of the Lord. Like initially, the four Kumars were impersonalists, but they became devotees of the Lord, became personal, accepted the personal features of the Lord, personal aspect of the Lord. But there are the Mayavadis who are incorrigible. They can never become personalists. Right? Because they consider that the form of the Lord is a product of Maya. The others are open to the form of the Lord, the Brahmavadis. Brahma Jyoti, then Paramatma, then Bhagavan. So they are open, right, to the higher understanding. But the Mayavadis, they begin with the understanding that the form of the Lord is material. That's illusion, illusory. Ultimately, it's beyond the Lord's form is Brahma. You get the situation, get the thing. Like they are hopeless. Their condition is hopeless. Because they already accepted the Lord's form is a product of Maya. Therefore, they can never accept the Lord.
Oh, thank you. So those who are able to merge into the Brahma effulgence, are they Brahmavadi?
Yeah. Those who want to merge in Brahma's effulgence, they are Brahmavadis. But the Mayavadis, they think that they will have merged into Brahman effulgence, but they don't.
What will be the consequence of those who is practicing Mayavada?
The Mayavadi arujya krichena param padam tato patanti adha. With a great endeavor, they rise up to that height, but then they fall down. They become a piece of stone like a diamond and give out a little light and think, Aham Brahmasmi. Right? They don't merge into Brahma Jyoti, rather they become absolutely inert, like a stone, and fall down in this material nature. Okay.
Hi, Krishna Maharaj. I've got two questions actually. Hiranyakashipu, he became almost immortal by all the boons that Brahma gave him. So what about Hiranyaksha? Did he follow a similar process of meditation and attain some boons?
The Bhagavatam doesn't describe that. It says that from his birth he was very powerful. And he was actually powerful because he came from Vaikuntha, Joy and Vijay. Therefore their position was superior to the demigods. Therefore demigods could defeat them.
Thank you, Maharaj. And also, continuing with the Brahmavadi and Mayavadi, like Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha were demons, and they were killed by Lord Vishnu. So they also merged. And so I'm just trying to understand whether, because they were demons and they were merging into the Supreme.
That has been pointed out that Sajunja Mukti is awarded to the demons when they're killed by the Lord. Asura Harina Hata. Asura, the demons, when killed Hata by Hari, then they get that position, merging into Brahma Jyoti. So why should a gentleman devotee aspire for that? And what is the thing that has been awarded to the demons when they're killed by the Lord? Why should a gentleman want that? I mean a devotee want that situation. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Earlier this morning you was talking about that we're in a perverted state of consciousness via our senses, and I'm just wondering, how do we systematically manage the senses? And one thing I want to make a little statement is that Kashyap Muni was unable, or I don't know, maybe I've not got the right understanding, but he was unable to control his senses with his wife because he knew he was going to make demonic children.
No, he was not unable. He was not unable, but his wife was insisting. Anyway, that is secondary. So what's your question?
So how do we systematically manage the senses?
Very good point. This has been described in Bhagavad Gita as Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. Rishik means senses. And Rishikesha or Rishika Isha means the Lord of the senses. So who is the Lord of the senses? Krishna. When the senses are engaged in serving the Lord of the senses, that is the way to control the senses. And that is called devotional service. So otherwise it's not possible. And also Prabhupada is further explaining how it is possible or why it's possible. Because, you see, we can give up the lower taste by getting the higher taste. The sense pleasures have some taste, gives us some delight, some joy, some pleasure. And therefore naturally one is attracted to that because everybody wants to be wants to enjoy. So the way to enjoy is by indulging in sense activities. But when one gets a higher taste, then he can easily give up the lower taste. Like a person is starving, and at that time he is ready to take anything that comes, no matter how putrid, how rotten it is. But if he has a choice of a plate of Mahaprasad and a rotten food, which one he'll take? He'll take by getting the taste of the Mahaprasad, he'll discard that rotten stuff. Similarly, the senses are hankering for sense pleasure. Now, if the senses get the taste of a higher taste, then he can give up the lower taste. Then only rather he can give up lower taste. Otherwise it's very difficult. Like for example, Vishwamitra Muni, he was meditating, performing austerities, he was meditating for 64,000 years. And then Indra sent one dancing girl from heaven called Menaka. So Menaka went and tried to break his meditation. He couldn't because his senses were withdrawn. But then Menaka started to dance. And the sound of her ankle bells entered into the ears of Vishwamitra. And his meditation broke. And he saw this beautiful woman. 64,000 years of endeavor was lost in just a few minutes. So that is the material situation, because then he didn't get a higher taste. Therefore, sexual indulgence was the highest thing for him. Whereas Haridas Thakur, Maya Devi herself came to dissuade him. She didn't succeed. And mind you, Maya Devi's form is 1,000,000 times more attractive than the Apsara in heaven. So that's the taste. That's the taste of Krishna consciousness. That's the taste of devotion to Krishna. When one gets that taste, everything becomes totally insignificant. Not only insignificant, disgusting. All right?
Thank you.
Very good.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. I have a question about the name. If someone is not in Krishna consciousness and he is about to die, and you chant the holy name, and this person hears the chanting, could you tell me, do you have any, what is your opinion about this, please?
Yeah, anything can happen. Like, holy name has its benefit. And if that person is receptive to the holy name, even at the time of death, although he or she may not have practiced Krishna consciousness, but at that time, if he becomes open to the holy name, then yes, that person can become liberated. Like, do you remember when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was going through the forest of Jharkhand? He was chanting the holy name, and even the animals became affected by that. They started to sing and dance. That's the power of the holy name.
Thank you. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
And also, it's not an accidental phenomenon that at the time of death, a devotee appears there and chants the holy name. We have to understand that that's also Krishna's arrangement. Because then the holy name is Krishna himself. So at the time of that person departing from this planet, if Krishna sees that the devotees are wishing that person well, then Krishna may bestow his special favor unto that person.
Into the one who is dying, or into the devotee also?
No, also both, but mainly the dying person.
And also, I have another question. What the difference of
Give her the mic. Yeah, I have plenty of time for the question answers. I left 45 minutes today for question answers.
Will there be a difference between the person who is not in Krishna consciousness and who hears the holy names, and the one, and a devotee, for example, who doesn't have time to chant the holy name at the time of death? Is there a difference?
One is good fortune, the other is misfortune. In spite of practicing Krishna consciousness for so many years, if one can't remember Krishna at the time of death, it's unfortunate. And on the other hand, somehow at the time of death, although that person did not practice Krishna consciousness but becomes exposed to Krishna consciousness, the holy name, and receives it in a proper way, then no one can imagine what kind of good fortune that can bestow upon that person. Therefore, just distribute the holy name to the best of your ability. Wherever you find the opportunity, go and give it to them, because that's the best way to benefit others. Yes?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, I want to talk about the regulatory principles that you mentioned earlier today. You said, eating meat, intoxication, etc. But what about not eating meat, etc.? But what about some of the subtle elements of our diet in terms of not taking caffeine and cocoa and onion, garlic, mushrooms, etc.? Those elements also have an impact on our mental capabilities. Or would you like to comment on some of that, please?
Well, just stick to what Prabhupada gave. No meat eating, no intoxication, and so forth. Just try to follow it as much as possible. Yes, caffeine is a consideration. Therefore, we don't take coffee. But then again, we find individuals taking decaffeinated coffee, decaffeinated tea, and so forth. And anyway, just make the adjustment to the best of your ability. Remember that these subtleties are not so important. What really matters is the implicit faith in the holy name. Prabhupada was very liberal in that. Just all he wanted is that we take shelter of the holy name and lead our life accordingly.
Thank you.
Yes, Pratik. Oh, you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question, Maharaj. Okay, sorry, you're next. Maharaj, the Vedic Dharma is called the Sanatan Dharma. Is there any connection with the Kumar called Sanatan? Like the Bharat, I'm just thinking, the Bharat verse came from Bharat, the devotee called Bharat. Is there such a connection between Sanatan Dharma and...
Well, not really. The thing is, Sanatan means eternal. And the name, that was, with Sanatan, that was just the name. Of course, the name can indicate that he is Sanatan, he is eternal, or he is a das, he is a servant of the Sanatan. Like, for example, sometimes somebody gives somebody a name Bhagavan. No, that's his name. That doesn't mean that he became Bhagavan. Right? At the most, he is a Bhagavan Das. Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. You know, you were explaining about Mayavadis falling down after they reach a certain stage. But I can't correlate that with in 4:11 Krishna says, Ye dhamma prapadyante tamsata. So everyone follows Krishna's path ultimately. So how do we square that circle in terms of...
Well, je jathamang prabodhante. If somebody accepts Krishna as an enemy, then Krishna will reciprocate by becoming his enemy.
Okay.
So that's the point. That doesn't mean that jatamat tatapat.
Guru Maharaj, we talk of Krishna consciousness. You know, a lot of people don't know about Krishna. So if they believe in God and maybe not follow the principles, etc., how would they be dealt with up there?
Well, if they're properly progressing, they'll come across a devotee, get to know about Krishna consciousness, and become a devotee. Its arrangement is there. Like, yes, go ahead. You have a question.
Sorry, Guru Maharaj, I'm talking from a practical point of view. You know, my grandchildren are being also brought up in Christianity as well as in, Krishna consciousness. But, they are God conscious. Maybe they might not follow all the principles, etc. So,
Well, instead of going deeper, like into the complexities of it, the simple answer to that will be, God conscious. And what kind of consciousness of God? God, who is He?
They will always believe in an Almighty.
But who is that Almighty?
Well,
So that's the problem.
Because of the two separate things, Christian and Hindu, their belief will always remain that there is one God.
See, this is the difference between, say, as you mentioned, Christianity and Krishna consciousness. Christianity believes in God but doesn't give any information about God. Whereas Krishna consciousness is giving all the information about Him. Yes, God is one, but that one personality has an identity. He has His form, He has His name, He has His characteristics and so forth. So when the opportunity is there, why shouldn't we take that advantage? So that will be the ultimate consideration, like why not expose them into this understanding?
They will be exposed, but they will always have this, split thing.
That's not true. Like so many Christians have joined ISKCON. They were good Christians. Actually, once some Catholic priest came to Prabhupada and accused him, why are you converting these Christian boys and girls into Hindus? Prabhupada said, no, I'm not converting the Christians into Hindus and Muslims into Jews. I am simply making better Christians out of the Christians. Better Hindus out of Hindus. Like, see, come to think of it, we were Hindus. But what did we know about God? I mean, Christians are better off, at least they believe in one God. And we used to think everyone is God. But after being exposed to Srila Prabhupada's teachings, we got to know. And in another occasion, Prabhupada actually told them, if you want to, so he told some reporters, that if you want to know about God, come to me. I can tell you what He looks like, what His name is, where He lives, what He does, and I can even give you His telephone number.
Well, I have followed them because I was born a Jain.
Yeah, Jains are better than Hindus. Hindus are such a hodgepodge. And so that's the thing, that's where you have to preach, you have to make them understand. Like, why are you just sticking to this thing Because it's a blind faith, I will say. If you believe in one God and if there is information about Him, why aren't you exposing yourself to that? If you really want to know about God, if you really want to be submissive to God, then get to know Him when the opportunity is there.
Hopefully, when they grow up, you are there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they have a good possibility to have a grandfather like you. They love you and you love them.
Hare Krishna. Just a short question. How should one study the Bhagavatam?
How should one study the Bhagavatam? With full faith and with implicit attention. Consider that these are the absolute truth. And then you will see that with your intelligence you will be able to analyze that how they are so relevant. Okay? Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Could you please elaborate on, when Prahlad Maharaj was thrown into fire, I've heard a story that, Holika, he was placed in lap of Holika, and then the fire was lighted. But we nowadays, that tradition has always gone on. Every year we have Holi. At least at the Manna we have Holi every year.
The Holi is Krishna's holy festival. That has nothing to do with this Holika. At least I never heard anything that from Prabhupada.
Oh, okay. Because every year...
if anyone protected Prahlad Maharaj, it was Krishna.
Krishna.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's nothing to do with every year we have this Holi at the Manna, where we have got a huge fire and we throw coconuts in it, So is it something to do with that? I don't know. And this tradition has been going around long time.
What can I say? My response to that will be has it been introduced by Srila Prabhupada or has it been referred to Prabhupada's books? Does it have any reference to Prabhupada's books? So if not, then don't get into that. Don't introduce things that are not really bona fide. Since you started, you can stop it. Festival, Holi means the festival of color. That is fine. But it's Holika and all that, because that may deviate us from Krishna consciousness. Today it may be a simple thing, but who knows what shape it can take after some years.
Because most of us have been brought up with that. So it's a continuation of...
You don't have any Holika in Jain culture. So don't say that you are brought up. That's why I said Jains are better off than the Hindus. The Hindus have so many concocted ideas. So everything goes in the name of Hinduism. And fortunately, Srila Prabhupada came and, gave us Krishna consciousness, and that's how we got saved. Any other question?
I've got another frivolous question. I'm sorry, a frivolous question to ask. What are dancing girls doing up there?
What?
When the story you were telling about controlling senses, I've got a frivolous question. What are dancing girls doing up in the higher lokas?
Okay, there are, universe has 14 planetary systems. 7 higher and 7 lower. we are in the middle, on the seventh one, called Bhurloka. Then above that is a Bhuvarloka. Then above that is Swargaloka. Swargaloka is the place where the demigods, the devas, live. And they are the controllers of different affairs of the universe, like water department, fire department, wind department, finance department, education department. So all these departmental heads live there. And they are privileged with some facilities. And those facilities are like, access to dancing girls for the entertainment and so forth. So that is the heavenly planet, that's the spiritual world. That's within this material nature, in the universe. They are higher than ours situation, but they are not the highest spiritual situation. Yes?
Krishna Maharaj, you told before that when one develops taste to Krishna consciousness, he loses taste to material sense enjoyment. And my question is, does it happen all at once, or this is a gradual process?
Yeah, it is. It depends, like how much one is conditioned and how long it takes to undo that conditioning. Like it will depend upon different individuals. Like someone will achieve that situation very quickly, whereas some other may take longer time. It will depend upon the individual.
The better we develop the Krishna consciousness, the quicker and better.
Yeah. The more sincere one is, the quicker will be the process.
Thank you.
Maharaj, I have a question for this morning classes. Maharaj Parikshit, because of his generosity, he just gave some way to Kali. So the result is the Dharma is being established. So in our situation, when we deal with some miscreants, how should we deal with them?
Well, generally, as devotees, we don't really take up the law in our hands. Rather, we depend upon the authority, right? Say, for example, if he's outside, if it's an outsider doing something wrong, then instead of we punishing that person, we report to the police and so forth, subject him to that system. If something is doing something wrong within the movement, and if I'm not in a position to correct that person, then we report to our higher authority and they take care of it. Because if everybody, takes up the law in his hand, then there will be total anarchy.
For example, for some atheist person, we are not saying that we are not killing people, but if they are like a servant, should we just totally disconnect with them, or if they pretend like a friend, so should we be generous to this?
Use your intelligence.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, you say this morning that Brahmins were allowed to sacrifice animals, and everybody looks up to a Brahmin. So why was that the case?
You see, the Brahmanas would indulge in such activity only after performing the yajna. In that sacrifice, the animal that was offered, is sanctified, and only at that time they would. Otherwise, they won't just.
So what was the necessity of these sacrifices, and why did they have to do it on animals in particular?
Well, that was the custom and culture at that time, so that's why they used to indulge. But now things, in ISKCON, no meat eating, period. Alright? So, because I'm mentioning that because in our scriptures, in the Puranas, there are instances where it had described that the Brahmanas in that such and such occasion could take meat, could take alcohol and so forth. But that was at that time due to some arrangement. But we don't indulge in that. In none of our festival, meat will be served and alcohol will be offered. Okay? So devotees are meant to follow the four principles strictly.
Hare Krishna, I just want to carry on about that Holika, that actually Prahlad Maharaj was sent to the lap of Holika because Holika had a boon that she wouldn't burn in fire, but she still burnt in fire and Vishnu saved her. Krishna saved him, Prahlad. So she did die and Prahlad was saved by Krishna.
Well, thanks for the information.
That's all I have to say.
Pranay, you have a question? Okay.
Another learning point for me. Brahma's lineage, the timeline of that, where do the Kuru and Pandu dynasties fit into that?
Okay.
And our Hiranyakashipu, is that in the, which yuga would that be in?
That was Satya Yuga. Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha were in the Satya Yuga. And the family line of the Pandavas is the Kuru dynasty. Therefore they are known that Kuru, that is coming from, two Kshatriya lines are coming, one from sun god, Suryadev, Vivashwan, and the other is coming from Somdev. So that line is coming from Somdev's line, or Chandravamsha. Suryavamsa and Chandravamsa. Vivashwan, Imam Vivashyati Yogam, Praptavan Aham Abhayam, Vivashan Manave Praho Manur Ikshaku Beyam Bravit. Lord Ramchandra appeared in that line, Suryavamsa, whereas Krishna Chandra appeared in Chandravamsa.
I don't think we have any more questions.
There's one more.
Is there one there? I see your hand.
Last question.
Thank you, Maharaj. This is also relating to morning class. This is about Parikshit Maharaj. When Parikshit Maharaj ruled the entire universe, you were mentioning that there was no meat eating, gambling, and etc. So the Kali wouldn't influence at all. So under his rule, but I understand also that the Kshatriyas are very passionate, and because they are in the mode of passion, they were also allowed to eat meat and consume alcohol. So, but the Pandavas, I was mostly mentioning Bhima. Was he allowed to eat meat and consume alcohol? And how? Because Parikshit was his grandson, and there was under Parikshit's rule there were sub-kings, and would they have consumed meat and alcohol? And would Kali would have affected?
Well, in Dwapar Yuga, some indulgences were allowed, but in Kali Yuga, it was prohibited. So we have to understand that Bhima may have indulged in eating meat, but Parikshit Maharaj didn't allow that in his kingdom.
Thank you.
So that's why Kali couldn't find any place to live, because it was not going on. During the Pandavas' time, gambling was allowed. That was Dwapar Yuga. But in Kali Yuga, it has been forbidden. Thank you all very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande.
Please open us Bhakti Charu